I want to ask you about this judicial insurrection, as it's being called. Just about every single Trump policy seems to be have an obstacle thrown its way by some activist judge appointed by a Democrat. How's the administration going to deal with that? How are they going to actually do what they said they were going to do when they're frustrated at every step?
Yeah, ultimately, I think they're going to win because I think this has really exposed that the mid-levels of the judiciary remain very activist. They're not just interpreting laws. They're trying to invent laws, trying to make laws that the legislative have, or trying to usurp powers that the Constitution gives to the president. But the Supreme Court, you still do have 6 people who think the Constitution means what it says, a 6-3 conservative majority. I do think Trump will lose on one thing this summer, which is birthright citizenship. I think the Constitution just plainly says if you were born here, you're an American. Trump has tried to refute that through executive order. He loses on that one, but everything else, I think, all of the powers of the presidency, his power to enforce immigration law, to revoke status of countries like, say, everyone from Venezuela is a political dissident. That's no longer true. That's what Biden said. Now, if you're the high level of the Venezuelan opposition, yeah, you're a refugee. If you just came here from Venezuela and want an upgrade to your life, I would probably be one of those people, but the fact is it wouldn't make me a legitimate refugee. So I think Trump ultimately wins. It's going to take some time. And this really actually, agitates conservatives and Trump voters who might sit out midterm elections next year to really go hard and make sure that Republicans pick up seats in the Senate, because that's, of course, where you get judges, conservative judges, confirmed.
James.
In all my life, in America, I always knew that from a kid that judges were the thing that, made it. That's what Reagan was all about. But I want to talk, though, about foreign policy just a little bit, too, because we've seen some interesting complexities, shall we say, here. We've seen this seeming sort of rift between the Trump administration and the Netanyahu government in Israel over questions of whether or not to attack Iran and also around Gaza. At the same time, we have seen Trump taking a far stronger line on Vladimir Putin after his continued attacks on Ukraine after, ceasefire talks and all that sort of thing. Walk us through where the Trump administration's foreign policy is going, because I think we don't pay enough attention to this as he tries to undo 2 of the great disasters that befell the world during the Biden administration, October 7th being one, and of course, the invasion of Ukraine being the other.
Right. I think there's really too much emphasis, and maybe the White House has some blame in this, in a breakthrough deal with Russia and Ukraine and a breakthrough deal with Iran. The White House, and I was just there yesterday, is sending very positive messages about a nuclear deal with Iran. Steve Witkoff, the negotiator, has sent a latest version to Tehran, and it all comes down to the question of reprocessing fuel and enriching fuel in Iran, whether it happens or not. So we'll see what they say. I'm actually more doubtful, but I think that Trump's first-term approach, which he's doing now, which is pressure on Iran, maximum pressure, probably would be just fine. Similar with Ukraine, it was always unlikely there's some magical word salad that will get the Russians to change their view of national interest, or to get the Ukrainians to accept the reality that they're not going to recover all the land that Russia has won at great expense. So those 2 things may just have to go on. It's unfortunate because in the case of Russia and Ukraine, it means more killing. But amid this, there's a successful foreign policy, which is a strong America that's not apologizing for itself, a military that's no longer woke, and in the Middle East, a recognition that the power is between the free world, countries like the United States and Australia that still have confidence in themselves, and those Gulf powers. It's not in cozying up to Iran, which is what the previous administration did. So I think if you step back from the deals, and also there's a huge, of course, trade realignment going on. Talks with China are going nowhere. But what that means is I think U.S. allies are in a very good position to have durable, lasting agreements that are good and that are a key part of the Trump foreign policy success.